TV, Roku, and Twitch.
And it's Manifestation Monday. The question is, what is the legacy you're leaving in this lifetime? You know, we're eternal mortal beings, but we still only get one expression in this lifetime. So we come together each morning to know the truth, live on spiritual principle, and try and talk.
It's Monday, right? It's Monday. You sound great. You look great.
How are you guys?
I'm excited to be manifesting our legacies today with our very special guest. Good morning, everyone, back in the studio.
Good morning.
Hello.
Good morning.
Hello. Where are you?
In the dark still,
I'm going to manifest you right now, and we'll come back to that in just a second. How was your weekend, Erin?
Okay, so I had like a good distinction this weekend. So my son was supposed to come in for the whole weekend. He did. He came in at, we were going to have dinner on Friday night, and we're going to spend the whole day on Saturday together and go to my cousin's 30th bash birthday party. So he calls, he's like, well, we're running a little late. So they got in about 9:30 at night. So dinner was out, which is fine, you know. So his girlfriend was a little tired. We went for a little drink, my son and I. And then the next day, they were having some stuff going on, and then they had to go help my cousin get ready. So the whole day, it was fine. It was like, well, I got to get stuff done anyway.
So you were waiting in the morning?
Yeah, so I rearranged my whole week, which was fine. And then we had the most beautiful event at my cousin's birthday, which is so gorgeous. I mean, incredible. The chef was amazing. Lights everywhere, tents. It was like a wedding. But it was funny because I was thinking about it on Sunday morning, and I was thinking about the old me would have been a wreck. I would have been like, poor me, kitty party, would have happened, you know, and I would have like thought about how awful it was. And I was like, it was perfect. I got work done. Saw my son, I'll just have to go out and fly and see him in a couple weekends.
So you were basically expecting that they'd show up at a certain time, and you waited, and it didn't quite happen, but you didn't freak out like you normally would.
Yeah, I mean, it was just like,
okay, incredible,
it was just like, you just keep rolling with it, right? That's what consciousness does. That's why you want to do your work.
Totally.
So you can still enjoy any weekend that happens.
That's right. You can roll with the punches.
That's right.
That's awesome. My mom watched your story. She loves it. She watches both your stories. She always loves the stories that she has on the air.
And then I went to Lori Harder's event, the Bliss Project on Sunday, and it was 500 women down at the Marriott at
500.
Newport. I think it was her 7th year of doing this event. Beautiful, beautiful, and Jenna from Unicorn University, she did this one amazing kind of guided meditation to Beyonce. I was here, and that's what kind of like sparked this whole conversation today of like, what is it that she's like, you know, you're leaving a legacy. Like no one's going to know you were here unless you leave something like an imprint on this whole thing.
What was that the highlight of the weekend for you, or at least as far as the Bliss Project? Was it the legacy theme?
Well, I love that. It just stuck in my mind. But I mean, of course, family, Saturday night, celebrating my cousin's birthday.
Hard to beat that.
Hard to beat that.
And it looked like a sick place and a sick event.
Beautiful.
What about you, Rob? Divulge. Tell all. You probably read 13 books.
I did do lots of reading. I did do lots of reading, Jez. My sister and I are working on like a brand new sort of series of training programs, like e-courses.
That's great.
So we're doing that with this super blogger friend of my sister's, who's it's amazing, like what you can accomplish through blogging. So this woman has created an incredible empire. So we're going to work with her and create some e-courses. So for me, it was mostly work. What about you, Jess?
Well, a little bit of work, but it was so fun. I was down in Orange County with Desert Daisy Jewelry. Special thanks for these earrings.
Oh, love those.
Emma's a big part of our community here. She's a member of Soul Society. She's been a guest on the show.
Amazing.
And she is launching a new line. It is so incredible. Very inspired by Marie Antoinette. Literally was bejeweled, had sapphires glued to my face. It was fabulous. French corsets were made, and we had Sugar Alchemy make the most beautiful gem-inspired macaroons, petite cakes, edible flowers. The pictures are so beautiful.
I want to see the pictures. Where are the pictures at?
Well, stay tuned. Follow my Instagram, of course. I'll share that. And releasing today is the podcast I did with one of our guests, Lance Essios, on the University of Adversity.
He's great. I love Lance.
Yeah, great conversation. Also, I want to give a shout out to this cute little peace sign. Mia Sia just sent it to me, which is kind of cool. I'm not gonna lie, like we get a lot of gifts. I feel a little guilty sometimes.
But you pass them on.
I do. If I don't use them, I definitely pass them on. I keep some, give some.
I donate.
I don't feel guilty at all. I'm very appreciative. Special thanks to our recent guests, Gloria Garu and Piper Madison, and their PR team for sending us this beautiful chocolate basket.
No, that's going to be the death of me right after
Talk
the
about
show.
guilt. Guilt-free if it's done with positive intention. Speaking of that, let's try and say hello to our guests back in the studio one more time. Hello, everyone.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Look at that. We manifested our destiny.
Incredible.
Right
See?
there.
That's how quickly it works.
That's so awesome. Well, Peter has got the mic. He is a dear friend of Rob's, not to mention.
Yeah. Professional tennis player and luxury real estate.
Good morning.
Good morning. How you guys doing?
We're so excited that you're here. We want to hear all the secrets of you and Rob in Miami. But first, we want to know, how do you start your day? What's your morning routine like, Peter?
Well, yeah, I mean, first of all, I know Rob probably for like almost 10 years in Miami. I'm originally from New York, but I've been living in Miami for almost 13 years. So he's been a great friend, just an amazing person. But how do I start my morning? Nowadays, I start my morning very early. I really get up at about 5:30 because I play professional tennis now. I'm training for tournaments. So I usually wake up around 5:30, work out, and then usually play about 7, have breakfast, and then play tennis at around 7:30, 8 o'clock to start my day. I do high-end real estate and development, so I pretty much balance both. So that's kind of how I start my day out. And I work pretty much about 16 to 18 hours a day. So I'm kind of balancing both of these.
Incredible.
You and Rob are cut from the same cloth, aren't you?
Part of that early morning crew.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yes.
Love Pete.
Well, Izzy Swickle is in the house. Good morning, Izzy. Thank you so much for being with us today. You might recognize her, Annie, off Broadway. She's an incredible actor and singer. We're so excited to start our day with you.
Annie, oh my gosh, right? Brings back so many memories.
So, what's your morning routine like? How do you start your day?
Well, the first thing I do is press the snooze button because I'm like the least, like I can't wake up in the morning. You can ask my mom, like I go right back to sleep and I'm always late. But then after that, I kind of just get up and eat because that really wakes me up, and drink a lot of water, and then I'm pretty good. So that's basically how I start my morning.
Well, follow that routine, and you too could be a Broadway star.
Thanks.
It's a hard knock life, I'll tell you.
Oh, it sure is. Emily Williams is in the house, and she is teaching us how to heart our lives. Good morning, Emily.
Good morning. Thank you for having us here.
Oh, absolutely. So tell us, what's your morning routine? How do you start your day and set your intentions?
So mine's a bit of a work in progress. I normally feel into what the specific day kind of requires for me, but I love getting up and writing and journaling. I find that I'm most creative in the morning. I wrote most of my new book that's coming out around 5 to 6 a.m. in the morning, and then normally we have a cup of coffee and just jump right in.
I love that she said feel right into, right? I love that. Yeah, feel into instead of thinking into.
Not every day is the same, I don't find.
Yeah.
James Williams is in the house.
Hey.
Her partner in heart and helping us coach to live our best lives. Good morning.
Good morning.
It's all about those smiles and success today, isn't it?
It is. Yes, definitely. Yeah, you're talking my language, morning routine, what I'm all about. So how do I start my morning? Well, I start very intentionally. I think about, what's happened over the night. I know I've been lying down for 8 hours. I've not been drinking, I've not been breathing. So first thing I do is hydrate. I get some oxygen in my body. I move, I stretch, I set my intentions for the day, and really think about who needs to show up to crush the day. And like Emily shared, sometimes that doesn't work as well, but we all do our best to be intentional, and 80-20 is my rule. If I can be the best I can be at least 80% of the time, then I'm doing well.
I love that you say how you're going to show up. I always say show up and shine. So how are you showing up today? What was your intention?
Vibrant, passionate, present. I think present's a really important one. We're all very ambitious. We think about the future a lot. And I think the more that we can be grounded in the present moment, we can experience everything, we can appreciate everything, and know that the future hasn't been written. And so we can make it whatever we want it to be.
Yes.
Love it.
The power of now.
Love that. Absolutely.
Well, thank you all so much for being with us. We're excited to talk to you more later in the show.
Sometimes when I lose memory or anything, I think, well, this is just, you know, the universe's way of making me present.
Yes.
The Alzheimer's is kicking.
No, that's great though. I agree with you. You got to appreciate the science when you get it. When you know, right?
What did you say?
Yeah, exactly. That's exactly it.
I'm so present.
Yeah.
Okay, so today we want to talk about legacy. So again, yesterday at Lori Harder's event, the Bliss Project, down in Orange County, Newport Coast at Marriott, they were playing the song "I Was Here" by Beyonce, and it's all about, like, you know, we put our hands on our hearts and on our belly and really like got into the stance and had a guided meditation and really ask yourself, you know, what is that legacy that you want to leave in this lifetime? And I mean, of course, this is work I've been doing for many years, like, you know, but do you guys, do you feel like you're clear on that?
Well, I think it's really interesting, the whole idea of legacy. It's a conversation we have often with our guests. What do you want your legacy to be? And that's something I've really been reflecting on in the past few years. I knew what I thought I wanted from a very young age. And the more I've evolved and experienced in my life, the more you really get clear and focus on what truly is important and what you want your message to be. Not what you want your experience, but really how you truly want to impact the world. And I think that's something that I'm learning to cultivate right now. There's a great article on tinybuddha.com of the 7 steps to creating your legacy. And it was really interesting. And it started with a quote, and I'll read it straight from the site. It says, "Don't be afraid of death. Be afraid of a life unlived." You don't have to live forever. You just have to live. Special thanks to Natalie Babbitt for that quote. And it's so true.
Yeah, I love that, Jess.
What do you want to live on? You know, I'm all about creating legacy pieces, right? The special shoes or purses or jewelry I like invest in because someday I want to give it to my daughter, right? The legacy pieces, but it goes so far beyond the stories of my accessories. Although I'd like to say they help me live my best life, right?
Yeah.
This went to the Oscars and this was you know, I'm just kidding. I'm not really kidding. But it is so much more beyond that. What about you,
I love
Bob?
that. I love the idea of legacy for people who are motivated by it. I've never been motivated by this legacy conversation, and I don't know why that is. I think part of it is probably because I've thought so long and hard about death itself, and I've noticed that I have not very much control over what people think about me once I'm dead. So that idea doesn't sit well with me, right? In terms of, like, do I want to focus on controlling something that I have no control over? In terms of what I feel most passionate and purpose-driven around now, I'd say it's mostly, of course, happiness. And it's living conscious oneness with spirit. That for me is everything. So I'd say that it's that. I think maybe I have a little PTSD from management consulting position I had where we basically spent years working on this legacy system and like upgrading it. So the word legacy just doesn't. But I love the theme.
It's also like, I think it's just like karma. Like, what do you want to leave behind? Like, I think about patterns. Like, how do I want to look? What patterns do I want to leave in even my son or in our generations or whatever? But also, I think about the legacy that is so important for me is to develop spiritual leaders that understand how to help, you know, reprogram subconscious and bring truth to the world. Because I think about that little 22-year-old girl that was sad and having a traumatic moment, you know, having my stillborn. I want to go. I didn't know where to go. You know, when I finally decided I wanted to do my work, other than religion, there wasn't a lot of, like, you know, yes, you can do yoga, but they don't necessarily teach you a lot of the distinctions. So I want to leave a place where, you know, someone that's coming into this world has the places to reach out, to find truth, to do their inner work, to do their healing.
I love that, Erin. I couldn't agree with you more. That's just fantastic. Who would you say, whose legacy do you now feel most inspired by? Is there anyone in there?
I mean, you gotta say Oprah. I'm
Do you
sorry,
like Oprah?
but
Yeah,
like,
that's
just
her,
because she opened up the conversation of consciousness, not through religion, and through this place that was just like, that's what one of the things that inspired the show is, you guys, you know, it was like just bringing truth in through relatable ways and not having it be a dogmatic thing. That for me is the greatest teacher ever.
Fantastic.
Yeah.
What about you, Jess?
Well, it's a very similar, and I come at it from a little bit of a different perspective than Erin is, because for me, I'm creating a legacy and creating this platform and holding this space for people to celebrate and share their stories, their trials, their testimonies that will inspire and impact and ignite a conversation that will change the world. Not directly that I'm necessarily creating or teaching it from me, but I'm holding space for that. And for me as a journalist, that was always my intention.
Yeah, I love that, Jess.
That's a great journalist. I mean, you're right. I mean,
Right,
journalists you know, a good journalist, in my opinion, brings forth and debates, but also brings forth truth. I mean, that's a great journalist, in my opinion.
That's a good point, huh?
Yeah, for sure.
When you think about it, I guess the people that wrote the Bible or the Torah or
Yeah.
right, the Quran, any of those folks were
They were
journalists in
great
their own right. They
journalists.
were. They were the original journalists.
And there was like 800 of them. We have no idea which
No,
one
we don't.
wrote what.
Yeah.
That's what's hilarious
It's
about the
interesting
Bible.
though that when you consider the concept of legacy, people have so much pressure, like, oh, it has to be great, it has to be the best, I always have to show up and it has to be perfect. And there was an interesting acceptance speech recently at the Oscars, and she said, I showed up and I did my best, and my best was good enough. And that is so key when thinking about what you want your legacy to be. Just show up and do your best, however that is. It's not ever going to be perfect. Accept that and move forward knowing it's not going to be perfect.
I completely agree. Like that, for me, is most deeply inspiring. Is like, if I'm interested and inspired by a legacy, how can I live that legacy moment to moment? Like, if I want to leave a legacy of happiness or a legacy of unconditional regard or unconditional love or spiritual truth, then how can I live that right this second and not let it be contingent upon some results-oriented deliverable or book or something like that? Just right now. Is that what you do? That works for you. Just fake it out. Okay, it works. Okay.
No. But how would you like leave a legacy of happiness? Of course, your own legacy of who you are. But how could you?
You can only do that.
People, like other people, have the tools that you learn to, and that's that's what I think your legacy.
Totally. Yeah. Books.
Yeah.
Well, he's doing it on his Insta stories right now.
Oh, am I?
Yeah.
Man, I have been working on these Insta stories. It is a full-time job, isn't it?
It's business.
Yeah.
It is, but I've run into people across town. They say, "Oh man, I was watching Rob Mack's Insta story, and he's really just teaching me and guiding me." That's huge. That's part of your legacy, Rob.
I take notes from these two. Because left to my own devices, I've got no Instagram, no Facebook, no Twitter. I have nothing.
That's a lie.
We've been working on that a lot in Soul Society in the leadership program. We teach the 10 distinctions that it takes for social proof. Like watching Instagram stories is not just, yes, it can be inspirational, yes, it can be whatever, but there's an actual somewhat of a formula, knowing what human psyche really needs to feel like they trust you, that they respect you, that they get value, that they see that you're living a life they want to live. They want to see emotional connection. There's 10 factors to it.
Really?
And you need to actually have it be consistently putting out these 10 factors.
Yeah. I love that. I'd love to see that article. Maybe we'll post it or something, huh?
Yeah. It's in a worksheet in Soul
Oh,
Society.
I love it. There you go. If I act right? If I don't act up.
Not a member, but you're still interested in learning how to create your legacy, again, reference the tinybuddha.com article. It was really helpful.
Can you just pick off one or two, Jez, so we can get a taste of what's on there?
Yeah, absolutely. Number one was decide the kind of legacy you want to create, right? Topic of conversation. 2, just start today. Know that it doesn't have to be perfect. 3, simplify your life and just focus on the essentials. 4, treat everyone you meet with kindness.
That one right there, boom. That's a game over, really.
Yeah.
That's a one bullet list for me.
Absolutely. It goes without saying. It seems so simple, but so many people overlook that or discredit it.
Yeah.
It's everything.
Yeah, I think it's the highest teaching, honestly.
It's everything. But it needs to be authentic. A lot of people are
Yes.
super nice, but they're like,
Well, they want to get you.
I have friends, I'm not going to say their name, but they are the nicest people to everyone. And then as soon as they get in the car, they're like, mother effer. And you're like, wow, which one are you?
And it's true. And I think that LA is great that way and also challenging that way because it can be a place of very passive-aggressive personalities because everybody's really trying to climb.
Yeah.
Right? And they're very ambitious. They're very sort of overachieving, which is great. And when things don't work out well, then they pull out the dagger underneath the cloak.
Well, we're busy trying to create a legacy.
That's right, exactly.
Give us a break.
I love that. Well, let's take a break. Speaking of, we'll come back, we'll talk to our guests about what they're manifesting in their life. Stay tuned, we'll be right back.
Welcome to your home for talk. I'm Jezza Moyer, and this is Ever Talk TV, America's first live streaming video talk show platform. This week on Ever Talk, our shows were filled with positivity, enlightenment, Insta fame, Insta scandals, and binge-worthy conversations. Let's take a look.
Today I'm officially coming out of the closet as a mother. I've never publicly announced it. I've been a model for 15 years, and now I'm finally letting people know I have 2 kids. I have a 16-year-old son, and my 13-year-old son will be 14 in another month and a half. Obviously explaining that I have a 16-year-old, people are gonna be like, wait, how old are you? And I'm under 40, I'm 36. Okay, let's just get that out there.
Oh, wow.
Coming out of the closet again.
You came out twice already today.
I know, oh my gosh.
I hope that our viewers are watching this to realize that when you have a passion
And when it pays the bills and you can live a good life and provide for your children, there should be no shame in what you do.
Right. I agree.
So in other news, for those that don't yet know, Kelly's having a baby. Yay! Hiding it so well, by the way. You know, she's so disgustingly slim even when pregnant.
God
Just
bless you.
unfair. But I'm guessing that everything that you learn and your journey through Heal has had some sort of impact on you becoming a mama.
I've always had this awe and kind of curiosity about how intelligent the human body is.
Okay.
But now I'm just like living in this awe, like I'm creating this human being inside of me. It's wild.
It's crazy.
And to really try, like my women's bodies are designed to do this.
Would you want to do a home birth as well, or?
Yeah.
I thought with the squeal that was going to be, oh no. Wow.
I do. I
feel like that's brave.
It is brave.
Wow.
I admire many people that, you know, I get through birth, whatever way you want to do it. There's
That's
no
it.
judgment.
I was at a casino night last night.
Yeah.
We went to celebrate with Maria Conchita Alonso. We have a special look at some of the video from the event last night.
Than 18 animal foundations. My organization is called VEE Fauna, which means Venezuela Endorses Fauna. It's not a non-profit. So I got together, I united with one that has been a non-profit for 11 years. It's called Luchemos por la Vida, Fight for Life. They have an orphanage where many of their kids have HIV. I thank you very, very much for your contribution, because alone we can't do it.
She's such a love.
Yeah, our love and light to Maria Conchita and all the orphanages she's supporting in Venezuela. You know, it's always great when Hollywood comes together and has a heart and gives back. Visit evertalktv.com for your free 30-day subscription. EverTalk TV, anytime, anywhere. What an incredible week here at EverTalk TV. I'm Jessamine Moyer, and we'll see you next time.
Welcome back to Good Morning La La Land. Nothing better to have us manifest things in our life than some great coaches. So Emily and James Williams are here, dear friends, in from London. They are moving to La La Land, though. They are seven-figure coaches. That's a great job, you guys. That's not easy to do in the in the busy space, the loud space of coaching. So how are you guys?
Good.
Good.
I love it here.
You look amazing.
Yeah.
I love the color.
So excited.
Yeah.
Thank you.
I find your personal journey so inspiring. I mean, it says on her bio, you couldn't get a job at Starbucks. Next thing you know, she packs 4 suitcases, goes to London, and you made your dreams a reality. You did what seems like the impossible. How do you do it?
Great question. But it's true. I applied for a job at Starbucks 3 times, then finally got it. They let me in. And I just kept following my heart. I know that sounds really cheesy, but I had this whole plan in place. I was going to get a master's in counseling. I was driving to Chicago to start that program and literally turn the car around. And I just felt like I wasn't meant to go in that direction. And it's the same thing, like even us being here today, figuring out where we want to live, we're just following our heart. We did go to Seattle first and realized that wasn't the right place for us and booked a new ticket and came here. But it's just constantly following my intuition and trusting my heart that it's guiding me in the right direction.
I love that. So important. So you guys, we met on stage at Boss Babe in New York. I was emceeing and you were on the panel.
Yep.
And then you're in, you know, you guys have been in Brenda Burchard's, you know, Nick Pigeon. We have like this very like full circle here. So tell me, you guys work together, you play together, you do everything. Tell us a little bit about what you do. You do mindset and you do business developments. Tell us a little bit about each of your kind of, you have a little bit different roles, right?
Yeah, I mean, I actually started in television. I wasn't a coach, right? And personal development was something like a lot of us, something I practiced to a level, but it wasn't something I mastered. And it was actually meeting this inspiring lady that got me to think outside the box. And so I actually started following Brendan Burchard, and he really spoke my language. You know, high performance, you know, personal mastery, not just spirituality, not just mindset, but physiology as well, the whole bag. And I think what seamlessly happened was Emily and I, you know, really complemented each other's skills. Like Emily knows how to think like a successful person. I think ultimately she knows how to really lean into her vision and make it happen, kind of unapologetically, you know, really driven.
Looks like
And
we have some B-roll.
Yeah.
No, we want to know more about what you're saying, but tell us a little bit about what we're seeing right now.
Yeah, so I filmed a clip for Money. I went to New York City and filmed this segment, and it's crazy because when I started my business, I was $30,000 in credit card debt, $90,000 in student loan debt, and so for me to be a money mindset expert and help women create financial abundance, it's kind of crazy, but it's my favorite topic.
Sorry to interrupt. We just want to make sure.
So what would you say a money mindset consists of? If you were to break it down, and I know it's a lot, you can't say it all here, but where would you start if you wanted to create more of a money mindset?
So you were talking about subconscious and reprogramming, and so basically we all have a money story. We have thoughts that we think about money based on what our parents and society taught us growing up, and so we bring all these thoughts into our adult life, and we use it to try and be successful, but it doesn't work when you subconsciously believe that rich people are evil or you're scared of success. You're gonna self-sabotage. And so we work with women on their mindset because we believe success is an inside job.
But I think this is very relevant to the conversation. We started talking about your job at Starbucks, right? Then you foray this into coaching. You make $400 or some odd dollars the first time. Then you turn that into a 7-figure business. What was your personal story with it, and how did you flip that? Because a lot of people talk about money story, and most people watching don't get what that even means.
Right. Yeah, I think for me, it's an anything is possible mindset. So people limit themselves and they don't actually realize what's possible. So I started to see other women creating 7 figures. I started to see them doing it quickly. And I'm not saying it's an overnight thing. I put in the time and the effort to make it happen, but I believe that that was possible for me. And
I think, did you believe that growing up in Ohio?
I grew up with entrepreneurs all around me, but my big goal was 6 figures. I just wanted to hit 6 figures by my 30th birthday. Then I had a coach tell me I could make what I was making in my job as a matchmaker, not just I could make that yearly salary in a month. And I thought she was a little bit crazy, but I loved the sound of that, so I just went with it and snowballed, right? And so I think it's just believing that it's possible for you, and then obviously taking the steps. A lot of people want to go and like sit on the mountaintop and meditate, and that's great, but you have to show up and you have to take the action.
So what would you say are the, someone who's coaching, maybe they have a couple clients or something like that. What is the real thing that has really put you to the next level from a 6 to 7 figure?
I think moving past fear and just consistently showing up. Like I put so many offers out there. I had 54 no's in a row from people who didn't want to work with me, but I kept getting on the call. I kept putting myself out there. I kept believing that it was possible for me. And I really believe that our desires are dropped in. I believe that they're there for a reason. They're not just an accident. And so when you trust that everything you're being called to do, or a way in which you're meant to live your life, that's actual truth, then you know there's no other option. You have to keep moving forward because that's what your destiny is.
Yeah, it's a possibility mindset, ultimately.
What's been the toughest part of your coaching journey, sort of becoming 7-figure coaches?
I guess it's there's so many levels. You make it to one goal, and then there's another level, and there's another level, and each level can feel as hard as the level before it, right? And so I think doing this together and working on this together and growing together has helped us there. But it's challenging. It is challenging. There is no easy way to make your dreams happen, but there is an exciting and passionate way. And I think it's just consistently doing the work and knowing that it's not a crash diet, right? Personal development is
one of the things I always tell people in the coaching world is that one of the secrets that people don't really talk about is actually in the masterminds, it's not so much all the information that you learn, that's important, but it's the relationships and the network that happens through that. So tell us about your experience with some of the greatest networks.
Yeah, I mean, my first experience with Brendan was going to his events, so Experts Academy and HBA and the Mastermind, and I think the people you meet, not only there are potential work opportunities, but there are inspirations. Meeting people like Emily, in all their forms, inspires you to know what's possible. It makes you think, wow, there is a level out there for me. Maybe there's something else that I can do.
Who is Brendan, and what did you learn from him?
Brendan Burchard is like the most amazing guy. I mean, he's like one of the #1 online
he does about 90 million a year. He's like the top coach in America.
Yes, online programs. I mean, he's the #1 high performance coach in the world. But he's He's a possibilitarian as well. I mean, he just like, he does
Possibilitarian, I love that, yeah.
He lives for his dreams, and he does so wanting to bring people on that journey with him. If you go to any of his events, there's not like a one type of person. There's people from all over the world, of all ages. And I think I love people, I'm an extrovert in that way, and so going to an event surrounded by different types of people that are making their dreams come true is very, very inspiring.
Right, it was interesting because when I went up Nick was speaking at his event, and in the audience in our VIP area was JP Morgan. Wait, JP, what's his name? Sears, yeah, that does all the funny spiritual things, and then there was
like satire, spiritual
Craig, who does like huge top-end funnels. There was like all these people that were from random like houses in LA. And stuff.
I think the reason we're sitting here is partially because of Brendan, because Brendan introduced us to Nick, who introduced us to you, and
definitely. Big shout out to Brendan.
Net worth is your net worth, as they say. It definitely draws groups from all over, but there is some very similar things to the keys and pillars of personal growth, which you mentioned on the website. Can you explain those to us?
So for high performance, I mean, the key areas of high performance we believe are clarity, energy, courage, productivity, and influence. And there have been a lot of studies. I mean, Brendan spent 4 years, with one of the most in-depth studies looking at what makes the highest performers in the world perform. And not only succeed, but succeed and be happy and have great relationships, right? And I think that's the real key. And what's been seen is when you really master those kind of key pillars, you have the ability to do that and live a life with momentum and sustained momentum, not that kind of peak and then drop and then peak and then drop, to be able to actually build up an element of momentum so that you can consistently climb. And it just means constantly doing the work and being excited by it and building relationships and working on yourself ultimately first.
How do you keep up the energy? I mean, I know that also working as a couple, I would imagine there's great things and probably really challenging things about that.
We were just saying the other day, I don't know if we should really be working together. It's a learning curve.
Yeah, it is.
All the time, for sure. I think it's just knowing, we worked with a relationship coach actually for about a year who specializes in entrepreneurs. And she taught us about putting on your husband and wife hat and then putting on the entrepreneur business owner hat. And it's always been a bit of a weird dynamic for us because I started the company and then he kind of came in. And we've been trying to navigate that. But ultimately, we wouldn't have it any other way because it's amazing to be able to travel together. We talk about our clients. We love the same subjects. We'll
talk about that possibilitarian mindset again. Just because there is a perceived relationship dynamic that we grew up with doesn't mean that's what we have to have, right? We realized, that we can create any relationship we like. We can live and work together and be successful as a team and be successful as a husband and wife.
I love
that's the constant journey.
And speaking of Brendan, I mean, he's now launching something which she was completely behind the scenes. So I'm sure it takes a toll on your relationship because this takes everything. To do a 7-figure coaching is like you eat, breathe, and sleep it. So I would imagine now they're like, okay, we better do this somewhat together because it can take a toll on you either way, right?
Well, I think what you were talking about earlier, people, there's certain things that get people to trust you. And I think people seeing a behind the scenes and seeing him connect with his wife and what that looks like and him letting people in more, that makes a huge difference. I know for us, when we share our story or when we're vulnerable and we share like the reality of what it takes to do this, people respect that and they appreciate it because they know that it's not an overnight thing, even though it might appear to be, and they want to know the truth about what's going on.
I love that. And wouldn't you say that, this is one of the things that I think is interesting. It's both challenging, I guess, and an opportunity for everybody who's trying to build a business, particularly when you're trying to do it through social media, is that there's almost, like Erin mentioned earlier in the show, there's like this list of 10 things you should do if you're online. You should be vulnerable, you should try to be positive. And yet, you can feel the authenticity come through the screen. So when someone's trying to be vulnerable just to get you to respond, you can feel it, right?
Totally.
And so what would you say, in your experience, has been most helpful in terms of building those relationships online for you personally? Anything specific?
I think being open, because I'm naturally an introvert, so I kind of want to just send James to everything and have him do all the networking. But like that's not going to help me spread my message or live my legacy. So I think just being open and being willing to just connect with people. Even for me, that sounds super simple, but that's difficult. And so just showing up is a big deal for me.
Yeah, that's what you said earlier about it's very hard to try to be authentic,
Yeah.
right? You're either authentic or you're not.
Right.
And so it's just relaxing and knowing that this is what you want to do, and that sharing your message is ultimately in service of the people that you want to serve.
Yeah.
Right? You don't need to put a mask on.
So who are those people? We talk to a lot of life coaches, but who are the people that really would resonate with you? Who's your audience?
So I love working with women who know they're meant for something big. They probably have felt this call or this whisper to go in a certain direction. Maybe they're lacking clarity right now, but they know that there's something big in their future. I love supporting them and making it happen and reaching their big goals. And right now, that's female entrepreneurs. I can see it growing and expanding as our platform grows. But yeah, we work with mainly female entrepreneurs at the moment. And I know you have a bit of a wider audience.
Yeah, I mean, I do work with guys as well. But I think what's happening when you're authentic, when you're just putting yourself out there, what I'm really finding is that there's an element of entrepreneurs that really try and they work, and it's all about what they need to learn and how hard they need to work, and they kind of forget about their health and their mindset. It's secondary. And then they get to a point where things start falling apart, relationships, their health starts falling apart, and they're the ones that I end up attracting, because they're like, you know, my family's really important to me, my health's really important to me. I can't go to the next level because I've not been making these things a priority. So they're the people that end up coming to me.
Interesting.
Yeah, he has clients with like $50 million businesses, and you know, it's really interesting to see who comes his way.
So fascinating,
Yeah.
right? What we attract in through all that, through our own consciousness is so fascinating.
And but by being authentic.
Yeah.
By just talking about what you're excited about.
Yeah.
You know.
If you're a coach out there and you're down to your last $3,000, the Steve Jobs question, where would you spend that last $3,000 in terms of your business?
That's a great question.
That's a great one. My marketing mind wants to go to something like Facebook ads, but I wouldn't hire someone to do it. I'd learn it yourself, put a little bit of money into it. But I also think that one of the biggest shifts for us is investing in other coaches, invest in people who are able to show you the path, so you're not guessing, you're not just throwing spaghetti against the wall. We've invested, I mean, nearly $500,000 in the past 5 years in masterminds and trainings and learning from people who inspire us. And that it makes all the difference, because it's not just the information they're giving you, but that connection, and they're giving you their belief in you, which makes a world of difference.
Wow, you make me feel so much better about the 2 master's degrees that I feel better. Not perfect, but I feel better.
So tell people where they can find you and work with you.
We're at iHeartMyLife.com. And you can find both of us there, all of our programs. I have a new book coming out in June, so everything's happening.
And what's it called?
I Heart My Life.
Oh,
yes.
Good on brand. Well, I'm excited to hang now that you guys are in Los Angeles.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's going to be a good time.
Yeah.
Stay tuned. We'll be back with more on Good Morning LaLaLand. Welcome to your home for talk. I'm Jezza Moyer, and this is Ever Talk TV, America's first live streaming video talk show platform. This week on Ever Talk, our shows were filled with positivity, enlightenment, insta fame, insta scandals, and binge-worthy conversations. Let's take a look.
Today's guest dislikes titles. Although he is an amazing, talented actor and a real-life Viking, he prefers to be valued by how many belly laughs he can get you to have in the shortest amount of time.
Hi everyone, I'm Erin Ziering, and this is The Housewives of Hollywood. You might think you know The Housewives, but it's not rosé all day, Pilates, and finding the best nannies. It's women supporting women, and today I have a very special guest, and we might have to change the name just to Housewives of Beverly Hills for Tori Spelling. Tori, thank you so much for coming on. Oh my gosh, anything for you.
We kind of like having her here.
Yeah, she's like, so much Good Morning LaLaLand. We've got things to do. Room to your set today.
That's right.
I love that.
So tell us about the proper way to actually taste this wine.
Put it in your mouth. I love you. That's my kind of winemaker.
LOL. As you can see, we have a lot of fun here at EverTalk TV, and I'm so excited to share this journey experience with you. Visit evertalktv.com for your free 30-day subscription. EverTalk TV, anytime, anywhere. What an incredible week here at EverTalk TV. I'm Jezza Moyer, and we'll see you next time. Live from Los Angeles, welcome back to Good Morning La La Land. We are so excited to be with Issy Swickle. Today on the show, you might recognize her Annie on Broadway, television star, and she's releasing your new EP, right?
Yes, it's called Mirrors. Thank you. I'm actually releasing it next month, so I'm really excited. But we don't know like the exact date yet because we were supposed to plan it on like a weekend, but like everybody's out of school and it's like vacation weekend.
Right.
So
yeah. I know that it's really all that we want to hear about all the projects, but Annie, I mean, come on.
No,
like,
no,
like,
100%.
Seriously,
Yeah.
like for me and for so many millions and millions and millions of people, like Annie was a huge impression on all of our consciousness growing up. It's a hard knock life to, you know, claiming your dreams. It really is the hero's journey within an embodiment of a young
it's such like a
girl.
beautiful, optimistic musical that was brilliantly written and it's beautiful.
So what was it like to be Annie on Broadway though? What did you do when you got the call?
Well, didn't get a call. The funny thing was I went to the audition, my agent just submitted me for it. So I was like, you know what, why not? Let's just go see what happens. So I went and I got a call back for the next Saturday. So then I just went up and I was like, oh, this is cool, okay. So by the end of the day, they had me audition for Annie with like probably 4 or 5 other girls. And then by the end of the day, they asked me to stay and everybody else just left. So they called me into a room and they were like, so like Martin Charnin, who wrote the show and who did the whole thing for the whole tour, and it was crazy. He called me in and he was like, we would like you to be in the musical, is that okay? And I was like so like shocked. That was like so cool. I was like, cool as a cucumber, as my mom loves to say. But I was so calm because I was in like such a state of shock. And he was like, we would like you to be Annie, is that okay? And I was like, yeah. I was like freaking out. And it was really cool though. My mom was a little emotional. She went a little crazy. So was my dad. It was really fun.
So which was your favorite song to sing in it?
Probably Maybe. Or Tomorrow. Tomorrow, yeah, I love Tomorrow. Because I got to do it with the dog and I love the dog. So there were 2 and they were so cute.
When you were auditioning, did you
Yeah.
feel strongly that you had the role? Or was it
No,
just completely
I thought that they weren't even going to
surprise?
choose me for anything. I was so surprised because they paid, like, I think they kind of did it on purpose.
Yeah.
That they, like, kind of paid a lot of attention to the other girls who were auditioning for Annie. And then for me, it was just like, okay, we're going to have you run this once and then that's it.
Wow.
Yeah, because I think they just wanted to see me do it once. The other girls, they were like, okay, now do it this way or that way. And I was just like, oh, God, I have no chance. But it was really cool.
So what's the difference for you going from Broadway to television? What's that experience been like?
Well, as everybody knows, Broadway is in a huge theater, so it's very out and big and full body language. And then for TV, it's like super close to you, so you have to learn how to calm that down and kind of transfer over to being able to act more reserved, if you get what I'm saying.
Absolutely. We have a look at some video
Oh, God.
of you. Let's take a peek.
I was 9, so this was a long time ago.
You
Thank you.
So Annie's grown up a little bit.
Yes.
She's got some black nails on. She's got music videos. Like,
Yeah.
So, you know, if we were to take a look at your life like a storybook that goes along, it's Annie and then it's this and then where's it go from here?
Well, Annie was kind of like a platform for me to be able to, you know, branch out and build into a bunch of other stuff. So right now I'm mostly focusing on my music and, you know, writing and producing. My producer's Andrew Lane, and he is incredible, such a genius, plays every instrument under the sun. And I feel like now that I'm growing up a little bit more, I can kind of do everything. My acting, my dancing, my singing, so.
rumor has it you're collaborating with a pretty cool DJ.
Oh,
as
yes,
well.
that is true.
What can you tell us?
Well, her name is LaLa B. She is so amazing. She's super smart. She's so young and is so like talented. So I'm really excited to work with her.
And what was the inspiration behind Mirror?
Well, basically I just wrote down 10 titles and then we started working from there. So the Mirror, it's basically like it shows who you are and it shows your imperfections, and that's what makes you you and what makes you beautiful. So that's basically what the song is about, that you can't get away from every little tweak that's a part of you. Do you know what I'm saying?
Absolutely.
Yeah, okay. I just wanted to make sure that I made sense, that it wasn't just in my head.
And it's really profound. We were having a life coach on the show a couple weeks ago, and she said, you need to do mirror work. I had never heard of that. But it was exactly that. It was looking at myself in the mirror, seeing everything I didn't like about myself, and loving myself anyway.
Yeah, turning what you don't like into something positive about that makes you who you are.
Yeah.
Love that. We always talk about how the universe is like the ultimate mirror.
Oh,
everything's
yeah.
like reflecting back to us in all areas of your life. So what's been the most challenging part of all this for you?
Kind of just, building self-confidence and being proud of who I am and what I've been doing. Because, I'm also a teenager, there's social media, and there's a bunch of negativity, but on the other side, there's a huge amount of positivity. All my friends support me. Of course, my family supports me. But that's kind of what I've been building up is my self-confidence and loving who I am and what I'm doing.
Wow.
Yeah.
Who or what's been most instrumental in building up that self-confidence?
My mom.
Your mom.
My mom, definitely. She does everything for me. Yeah. She books everything for me. She takes care of me all the time, takes me everywhere that I need to go. And, if ever I'm feeling down or something, she's always there to, build me back up, kind of. Yeah. So she's definitely my rock and my, one thing that I know I'll always have and count on.
Yeah. Who or what's been your biggest inspiration?
My mom too, but also,
she's working it
now. Yeah, no, my mom's like my superhero. I think my dad too. My dad is such a crazy hard worker for our family. Definitely my brother as well. He always works for what he wants. He does production too, so he's really into making music, not singing. So we're kind of like a duo. He inspires me every day, just being the wonderful person that he is, and how he's so kind and sweet, and everything he does is what I kind of model after.
And we were talking at the top of the show about creating legacy. Do you know what you want yours to be?
I want my legacy basically to be that I was proud of who I was and that I leave a mark on the world that, I don't know how to explain it, but it's that I did what I came to do, that I shared my talent with people, that I made them feel something when I perform or when I sing or when I maybe act or something, that I just share how my role or what my song is really about and how to help people feel something.
That's beautiful.
Thank you.
Any actors or artists that really inspire you? Who do you most
Lady
love?
Gaga.
Lady Gaga.
I love her.
What do you love most about her?
Well, she was just in A Star Is Born. I could not watch the movie. I felt like I was going to fall apart. My mom, my mom watched it. She loved it. So I loved when she performed Shallow. It's my favorite. But she's just a big inspiration. She is not afraid to be who she is. That's how she got her start, by being weird and different from everybody else. And that's who she is. And, she's branching out too and doing amazing things.
And she's virtually unapologetic about all of it.
Exactly. I don't think anybody really realized how amazing actress, of an amazing actress she is. And she's who she is, and she's proud of it, and that's what I love.
Yeah. So tell everyone where they can find it and follow you.
Well, my Instagram is @IssieSwickle, ISSIESWICKLE. It's a long name. But yeah, and my video release date will be on there, and my music, obviously, and everything. Basically, just keeping up with me, keeping up with Izzy.
We would love to hear a little Annie if you wouldn't mind singing us.
Oh, sure. What song?
Tomorrow.
Okay. The sun will come out tomorrow. Bet your bottom dollar that tomorrow there'll be sun. Just thinking about tomorrow clears away the cobwebs and the sorrows till there's none. When I'm stuck with the day that's gray and lonely, I just stick up my chin and grin and say, oh, the sun will come out tomorrow, so you gotta hang on till tomorrow. Come what may, tomorrow, I love you tomorrow, you're only a day away.
Easy, what?
Thank you. I haven't sang that in so long.
That's incredible.
Touched all of our hearts.
That is incredible. Crush that.
Stay tuned. We'll be right
Thank
back. Oh.
Thank you guys so much.
That was
I'm Francesca.
I'm Brad Grunberg.
And you're watching
How to Start.
What is pussy poppin', you beautiful humans? My name is Ariane Andrew.
I'm Matt Dillon, and welcome to another episode of Sippin' the Tea.
It's going to be a good morning, La La Land.
This is my first TV experience. I'm so happy I did it with you.
Bye. Bye.
Welcome back to Motivation Monday here at Good Morning La La Land. One of the people who keep me most motivated in my life is Pete Green, our next guest. He's a professional tennis player and luxury real estate developer. Welcome to the show, brother.
And a good friend.
And a good
you guys
friend,
got back
of course.
to Miami. I'm sure we brought you on only because we want to hear some stories.
It's funny. Do you remember how we met, Pete?
Refresh my memory.
Yeah. So I met Pete. This is what says something about Pete. I met Pete in the lobby of a condominium that we were living in. A really big luxury. Yeah, it was a beautiful place. It was incredible. It was like just a great place. And I remember being in the lobby, and I was on my way out, and Pete was on his way in, and he was just saying, and I said, hey, how are you? And he said, hi, how are you? I had never really known him or met him before. And he said, what are you doing? I said, oh, I'm heading to do this workshop, this training thing. And I said, come by if you want. It's in like 10 minutes. But right, so I never in my wildest dream thought that Pete could ever show up to that because he's a busy guy. Next thing I know, he beat me to the workshop, and he's sitting there in the front row, and I'm like, that tells me so much about you, Pete. Like, you're such a loyal guy, you're such a motivated guy, and you're such a really kind person. One of the things I love most about you.
Thank you.
But take us back, because I know that your life has been interesting, and it's been a roller coaster like it is for all of us.
Yeah, I mean, it really has. I mean, definitely, I've been in the high-end real estate market for about 10 years.
Yeah.
And I've definitely had my ups and downs. But, I'm just really happy to see you. It is the nice. Truth. And, one of the things that really resonates with Rob is that he wrote this book.
Yeah.
And it's this happiness from the inside out. And kind of, it's funny, I come back here and I never thought that I would really be in Los Angeles right now. But I just remember just kind of when I read this book, and really I live my life kind of based on what you wrote in this book, and when you talk about happiness, right, and you talk about these things and how you really, define it, it really, happiness is really defined as doing what makes you happy, doing whatever that is, and to me right now, I'm extremely happy because I'm essentially living my dream, I really am, and to me, what makes me happy might not make you happy or yourself, but I'm just, so happy to be here. Yeah. Being in Los Angeles, going to Indian Wells, the tennis tournament. I'm going there today, and just really doing the things in life that just I always wanted to do. And tell me.
And well, it's such an important message, and I think Rob always conveys it so well, is that happiness is very personal.
Yeah.
Happiness is not defined as it is in the dictionary, nor by your neighbor or anyone else.
Yeah.
Society's standards. Happiness is so deeply personal. You make your own rules about happiness.
Yeah.
So what are some of those rules you've set for yourself?
Well, first of all, what I love to do is play tennis. I mean, I always wanted to be a professional tennis player. I always wanted to be a top entrepreneur. I always wanted to be a developer. I always wanted to be at the top of business, own various companies, and I'm essentially doing just that, I mean...
And BD. I'm at the top of my game, literally, figuratively.
No, but I mean, like, I'm getting there, in the sense of that, and really just, I've had some ups and downs, for sure in my business. It's funny, like, I had my best year in real estate last year, and essentially I almost walked away from real estate. And it was kind of an interesting thing where I finished one of the top in my company. But what really happened is that it just wasn't a good ending. I was, it's kind of banging my head against the wall at the end of the year, just trying to figure out what I was going to do. I almost wanted to quit my job, to tell you the truth. But then all of a sudden, I kind of just reflected on things. Went on a vacation, my first vacation in about 3 years, and just kind of just re-energized, essentially. And I'm just kind of looked at in perspective of what I was doing and got back on track. And now I'm just doing so many different things in terms of the real estate business. And I actually got into professional tennis in the last 3 months. So I'm just like, it's amazing for me.
How do you just get into professional?
I'll tell you, met my a coach who is top 100 in the world. And I kind of reconnected with him.
And you had played tennis your whole life.
I played tennis. I played college tennis.
Yeah.
But I never really got to the level that I really wanted to be at, you know? And there was two things missing. One was that I never had a coach who was an ATP coach, right? And number two was I never actually had the money
Yeah, it's an expensive sport.
to afford to really train at this level. All of a sudden, the last 2 months, I connected with this guy, and I can go off on the reasons why, but I won't go off on that tangent. But all I'll say is that I'm waking up at 5:30 in the morning. I'm doing real estate 16 hours a day, and I'm playing with guys 300-400 in the world. I'm going to Indian Wells with the top players, Serena Williams, all these guys, Bouchard. So I'm just so excited right now of what I'm doing, and I want to play at that level.
Do you think that your
Yeah.
mindset has
Yeah.
everything to do with that, right? You're at the top of your game in tennis. You're at the top of the game at
well,
real
best
estate.
I've ever played, but yes, but not at the top yet, but I'm working towards that. Realistically, you have to have realistic goals. I'm not going to play Indian Wells this tournament, but potentially next time. Indian Wells are the top 100 players of the world. I'm not there yet. I'm playing my first tournament in 16 years.
But to even be having the
Yeah.
conversation,
No,
that's incredible.
No, it's amazing.
But I
I'm
do
just,
think that's interesting, like the coaching, because it doesn't matter what field you're in. One of the common denominators we're finding is that people do get coaches at whatever level, and I think that there's this whole misconception, like, you know, I mean, all great athletes have coaches. All great, like, business people generally have coaches. Like, we underestimate the power of following somebody that's done it. It doesn't mean you have to do it exactly like them, but at the same time. So how do you think a coach would deal with you versus, does he do it the same for everyone, or does he take a look at, like...
That's a great question.
Right?
You know, it's funny. Like, having a great coach, it's the synergy. There are top people in the world, like, for instance, Naomi Osaka, who has a coach. She won 2 Grand Slams, and all of a sudden, this synergy broke apart. I don't know, because of the relationship. So the relationship with your coach plays a huge role for me, for anyone I see. I have an amazing relationship with this guy. My coach, he was 95 in the world, played Roger Federer, Wawrinka. He stayed with me through tough times. He has no money. I can go off and tell you that he has a disease where he had to retire in 2013, and he's coaching in Miami, and I let him stay with me for a few weeks. And then all of a sudden we grew closer, and he just turned my mindset around, and I'm playing like every day, 4 or 5 days. I mean, I never thought this would ever be possible. But the main thing about coaching is this. If you want to succeed and you want to be the top at anything, you have to be coached by someone who really made it. Because there are a lot of coaches. There are a lot of coaches out there who claim they play the part and all of that. And I had a coach who was a physio. He never was a real player. He never won a tournament. My guy did. My guy was 185 in the world. 95 in doubles. So it's like that mindset, everything from waking up at 5:30 and him cooking something and I'm hitting a backhand, he's like, oh, good shot. You know what I mean? All of these things play a role. I'm excited about it.
So
Really.
So I think the takeaway is find somebody that you really want to model.
Exactly.
Or someone that you idolize, rather, and do what they do.
Exactly.
Take it and twist it, right?
So tell people how they can find and connect with you, whether it's in real estate or they want to play you in tennis, where they can follow you.
I mean, you know what? It's funny you say that because, you know, Instagram and Facebook, I'm on Facebook, but I'm not so much into social media. You know, maybe one of the top agents in real estate in Miami, and no one even knows I'm here in Los Angeles. To me personally, I'm not so avid on the social media aspect, but maybe when I'm starting to get into the tennis, because I have such a big following, utilize that in the tennis. Because I have so many friends who would not believe that I'm actually playing professional tennis. Because I wouldn't have even
Well, tell
believed
people where
it.
they can find you.
You can find me on Peter Green Miami at Facebook, Peter Green in Instagram, Peter Green Miami 25.
It's in his name. Greens, and he's on the greens.
That's right.
So you'll find him there.
That's right. Nice, Erin. I appreciate it so
Stay
much.
tuned. We'll be back with more Good Morning La La Land.
Live from Los Angeles, welcome back to Good Morning La La Land. We're talking about legacy, and so I wonder from each of our guests if there's a legacy that you want to leave behind. What is it? Start with you, Pete. Yeah.
A legacy, I mean, to me, I just want to inspire people to just kind of go after what they want to do. Really just an optimistic way of being.
Yeah, love that. What about you, Izzy?
I want to be able to inspire people through music and through acting and just showing them that they can do anything they put their mind towards.
Yeah.
The sun will come out tomorrow.
Thank you. Yeah, very similar for me as well. Just encouraging people to know that anything can happen, anything is possible. And I think that we can all achieve much more than we think we're capable of. So I always say create a life and business better than your dreams, because the mind only takes you so far. So when you show up, you can surpass any goal that you set for yourself.
Fantastic.
Love that. I think if you're going to leave a legacy, you've got to live a legacy. And so for me, it's just be the best I can be and be a possibilitarian and hopefully leave behind an idea that there is no ceiling, that you can do anything as big as your imagination.
You belong in La La Land, my friend. We are Good Morning La La Land, America's first live streaming daily talk show, coming to you live Monday through Friday at 9 a.m. on Instagram, Facebook, YouTube, and Twitter. All these interviews are also available as a podcast on iTunes.
Right. We are waking up the world together, you guys. Manifest your legacy today. Have a great one. Please like, subscribe, and comment.
It's going to be a Good Morning La La